All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of the Team Building Podcast. My voice might sound a little bit different because my name is Andy Cuney. I am not the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Cohn. I am the success manager for Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group as well as Elite Real Estate Systems. And today we have a very special guest, Matt Bohanon. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Andy, and thanks for having me. Super excited.
Cool. We're excited to have you. And we were just talking actually a little bit off air right before we started recording. And I was telling Matt that he's had the numbers he's doing right now, and I'll let him jump into that here in a minute, but they're right in that sweet spot, right, where so many teams are, and then they either plateau or fall off, or, right, they catapult. And so he's had all that success in just about a year. He's with Keller Williams, used to be a team leader at KW. And now he runs his own team within KW, right? You're still with KW, correct?
Yep, still with KW. So I was actually a single agent first, and had a little bit of success, and then took over the office as a team leader. Did that for about 2 years. Recruited about 140 agents over that time.
Nice.
And then decided it was time to get back in the business side. But from the get-go, I knew I wanted to build a business, not just be a single agent. So I've been completely out of production from day one.
Oh, beautiful. So you didn't jump back in and you didn't go the Rainmaker model where, hey, I just have so much business, I'm going to start handing off my deals to other agents.
No, I wanted to go with the CEO model like you guys.
Beautiful, man. We love it. We love it. We absolutely love it. We love it when we see other people not only, right, set themselves up for long-term success, right, while doing it this way, but it gives you the time necessary to then focus and help the agents that are on your team be successful as well, right?
Yeah.
You can pour in your time and energy to doing that. So I absolutely love that, man. I love to hear it. So let's get into your story. I'm going to pop in and kind of ask some follow-up questions along the way, but I want to hear about, I know you started your team in April of 2018, so maybe just start just before that, and then kind of tell us your journey till now.
Yeah. So, right before that, I was getting out of that team leader role. So I was in that weird transition of figuring out what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I, just being in that team leader role, you study so many different agents' businesses. And, I saw an opportunity with an agent in our market center that had a business that just had been stagnant for the last 8 years. She really hadn't had a ton of growth. She had a small team, but she was the superstar of that team. The rest were just kind of hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went up to her and said, hey, I can build the systems. I can build this stuff around you. Would you be interested in something like that? And obviously that's a big jump for anyone to give up, their business to come and put their faith in somebody else. And, so she took the plunge. We actually cleaned out the team. So we started with just me and her.
Perfect, man. That's a kudos to her for being able to put aside the ego, right, and replace it with the vision, right, that you were passing on to her. That's really cool. Okay, so started out with you two. You were obviously the team lead, who was, I guess you would say you were like the operations manager, right?
Yeah, the admin, the sign runner, the flyer guy. Everything.
You were doing everything so that she could produce.
Yep. And that was, that was where we went. And I told her I'd handle all the hiring, all the training, everything from there on out. So our next hire was an ISA.
Okay.
So we brought on an ISA, and then I immediately went to go find that admin person too.
Perfect. So, okay, real quick, because we get this question all the time from not only our clients, but just everybody who stops by, comes to our workshops, those types of things. How did you find your ISA? What were you looking for when you were looking for that ISA? And then how do you compensate your ISA?
So we don't hire anybody with real estate experience. Everybody gets licensed in their first 30 days when they join us. So I luckily had the training in the recruiting side of it already.
Mm-hmm.
So I headhunt for those people. So on the ISA side, I look for people with just customer experience, anything customer experience wise, some type of telemarketing experience, whether they either took phone calls or made them, and that they have a job. I take everybody from their current job and bring them in.
So you're not.
So we found her. She was actually
willing to do anything.
Yeah. That's if they don't have a job. I mean, we go through on average about 300 people to find one.
Okay. And how do you find those 300 people?
Everything. So Indeed's big for us. We have a pretty large Indeed spend because we need so many resumes.
Right.
And then I also use the back end of Indeed, and I do, if you put your resume on there, it stays on there forever. So I go in there and I scour, I look for companies. We're an hour and a half away from Disney. So I look for Disney employees because they, if they've gone through their customer experience training, they're already talented.
Right.
So they have a lot to add to us. So actually the last 2 hires we've made were both previous Disney employees.
I love it. I love it. Let somebody else do all the hard work in finding them, and then you can just pick them off.
Yeah. They're already in culture.
Yep. Why recreate the wheel, right?
Exactly.
No, that's cool. I love it. Okay. So you hired your ISA. Now, how do you compensate that ISA?
So we pay them a small base salary, $24,000 a year.
Okay.
And then they get 10% of the GCI for the appointments that they set.
Okay. So if they set the appointment, they get 10% of the GCI if something closes.
Yep. And now with our model and scaling it out, we've taken the lead generation away from the agents completely. So I'm currently hiring 6 more ISAs to handle everything. So past client follow-up,
Okay.
Outbound prospecting, all the inbound, because I need it to be 100% accountable. I need to know the phone will be answered, the past clients will be called. If your agents are super productive, that's the first thing that goes.
Right. Okay. So tell me now, how many agents do you have on your team right now?
So I've got 3 active and 2 in training.
And 2 in training. Okay.
So,
so obviously you used to do recruiting for KW at the Market Center. So how are you finding your agents? Now you said is the same thing as the ISAs. You're finding somebody in your you want them to be brand new to real estate when they come on your team.
Yep. Yeah. Same thing. Cause then they don't have any preconceived notions, expectations.
No bad habits.
Yeah. I mean, our second agent that we hired within 4 months, she was writing 6 to 10 deals on average.
That's amazing. I love it. Okay. So now when it comes to, give us a little structure now. You have the ISAs, you have 1 currently, you're trying to add, you said 6 more?
Yep.
Okay. 6 more. And what are the ISAs requirements? How many hours a week, that kind of stuff?
So they'll be a structured hourly. They're 8 to 5 now.
Okay.
And then they're required to do 25 appointments a month.
Okay.
And
they are hand dialing? What type of, do you give them a dialer like Mojo, something like that?
We use Vulcan and Follow Up Boss.
Okay. Very cool. And then, and what were your numbers? Why don't you tell everybody what your numbers were last year and then what you're projected to do this year?
Yeah, sure. So 8 months last year, we did 72 units, almost 21 million in GCI.
Nice. Very nice.
This year, we're on pace to do around 170 for close to 50 million.
Nice. More than double. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, no, it's fun to scale. I mean, just like anything, though, we've gone through, I let everybody know from the beginning, we're going to have growing pains. There's going to be issues, everything we do, we change weekly. People expect it now from me. Like, here's your system, and then here's your new system the next week.
Exactly. It's all about failing forward, right? If you don't try it fast, just fail fast. Fail fast, fail forward. And that's the thing. We had a really great team building workshop here in Omaha just a couple weeks ago, and we had a lot of high level. It was probably one of our highest level workshops that we've had. We had about 30 people here, and the common theme, the mindset from all of the super successful people that were there were they just failed more and faster than everybody else. That was it. That was it. And it was something that they said without even making a big deal. It was just matter of fact. Right. And so I think that's the biggest mindset change that a lot of people out there have to be willing to do. So, and I know a lot of people out there right now are like, wow, I feel like I fail every day. Why am I not successful? Right. So why don't you tell everybody what were some of your biggest failures and then what change that implemented, right, for you that then led you to success?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it starts with hiring. I learned my biggest failures in hiring came from being a team leader was, the first staff members that I hired, I cut corners, I needed them right away. So,
absolutely.
I love everybody that I interview.
Not right.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have such an intense interview process, and it's time consuming. You know, on average, it's 10 to 12 hours to get somebody
Oh,
through the whole process. So when you like somebody, I could skip those references, or I can overlook that, and I did that a couple times, and it got burnt, of course.
right. Like, we've been there, dude. All the time. We're like, oh, you know what? They'll be fine. Because then we start to trust us, right? Like, we'll be able to handle it.
Yeah.
We don't trust our process. But going through it, being burned a couple times, led you to trusting your process, I bet.
Yep. Yeah. Trusting the process and the numbers. I mean, that would be one of the big things too. Just learning the leadership side is so important, and you
Mhm.
have accountability. But even setting the standard up front, I didn't do that a lot of times. I didn't set the expectation, so people didn't have clarity on what they had to do.
Right. And it's a lot of times people are so focused on, I set the expectation with my clients, right? So I can have smooth, easy transactions, but I don't turn around and then set the expectation with my staff.
Yeah.
And so I'm always having staff turnover, staff issues. And it's just as important, if not important, because those are the people you deal with every day. Whereas clients, right, you move on.
Yeah, and we've messed that up too, staff wise.
Perfect. I'd love to hear it.
We have three admin side too, and we structured in the beginning that we would have the admin. They're all licensed to go to the inspections, go to the appraisals, go to the closings, to take all that off the agent's plate, so they could do as much production as possible. But we didn't have the communication rights, so our clients were feeling like they were just abandoned, like their
They
agent
got
just
handed off. They were a number.
yeah, check, and they're out the door. So
Yep.
that was a growing pain. We had to that one to get the client experience right, and now it's getting better and better. And we're actually putting the agent back in to the process.
There you go. And that probably helps with then the referral business afterwards.
Absolutely, because that's one of the things we use from Mike Hicks, the Promise, if you've heard that before. We've built that into our business, and it's part of the admin staff's accountability to make sure the agents are doing it and it's being presented to the clients, because they have a requirement of how many referrals they generate in their department every month.
I love it. And now you have that, and it's easy to track, and the numbers don't lie because you've set the correct expectations with the staff.
Yeah, and we're super visible with our numbers. We have TVs all over the place. We send them out multiple times a day, so there's clarity for everybody.
Okay, so how do you display those numbers? When it comes up to your TVs, do you use just like spreadsheets? Do you use something like a Gecko board? Do you use something like Sisu? What is it that you guys use?
We use the CTE software from Calvin.
Yep.
And he's in 2019, he put a bunch of different whiteboard features, and he's got like a horse race in there. So we do competitions every month for a certain metric, whichever one we're trying to push.
Yep. I love it.
We pick the baseline metric, the first one we can control, and that's what we move forward. And then once that hits, then we'll move on to the next one.
Right. You start to make that metric, whichever one you want the numbers to raise in or start to become habit, right? And then after that, after you get everybody on board with that, you move to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now we've talked about production. We've talked about kind of team structure. And it sounds like you guys have your admin do everything contract to close, because you want your agents out there doing the highest income producing activities, which is meeting with clients, writing contracts.
Exactly. Yeah. We bring the agent back in to do the negotiation on the repairs, and that's it.
Perfect. I love it. So now, do you guys track everything down to, on average, like how many hours an agent spends with the client, that kind of thing? I mean, are you guys tracking that deep yet?
Yeah, we actually, we're doing an experiment this month where everybody carries a pad of paper with them and writes down literally everything they're doing. Even if they're just interruptions. Like if I go and talk to the admin, they write that down.
I love it.
So I love it. We wanted to get super, super deep on it so I can figure out, hey, if you're doing something that takes a lot of time, let me figure out, maybe a virtual assistant can do that, or maybe I'm the problem and I just need to stay out of your office.
I love it. Hey man, you're holding yourself accountable, and you're using your staff and your agents to help hold you accountable. Yeah. That takes a lot of discipline though from your, coming from your point of view. I love to hear that. And I love how you're trying to become as efficient as possible, right? Across the board.
Yeah, that's where the business is going. I mean, it's, everything's, all this technology is coming into the business, and it's all to protect the consumer and bring a better experience. So you can either adapt or, get out of the way.
Right, exactly. Well, and I love it too, is there's all this technology out there, but if you don't either A, know how to use it, or are
Yep.
willing to use it, then it's no good, right? We sat with
Yep.
a guy who had he was trying to, push his technology, and it was amazing. And I said, this is absolutely amazing, what you're showing us right here. The issue is, it is going to be a bear just getting my agents to understand it, right? Let alone getting them to use it.
Yep.
So you got to find out, well, great, it may work. Will they use it? Will they understand it? And will I be able to implement it into my business? That's the hard part. A lot of time you don't think about it. You just think of the end, right? Oh yeah, if we get there, it'll be great. Can we get there is the problem.
Yeah, we built like our transaction management. We built it all out ourselves. We use something it's called Asana. So I know some agents.
Say that again.
Asana.
Osana, okay.
It's a task management software like Trello.
Mm-hmm.
People use Trello. We built it out the same way, and it's super customizable. So it makes it really repeatable, but it has all the accountability and reporting that I can pull anything. Our scripts are built in there. Everything we have for the transactions in there to make it really repeatable for our clients.
Okay, cool. All right. So tell me, another thing here is, where do your agents get their business from? Now, I know you said a lot of it is ISAs, and they're supposed to reach out to the leads, and then it's all about past clients and referral type business. So what percentage, when it comes to us here at Omaha's Elite, we always talk about the 3 buckets, right? And each agent usually is really good at one of the 3 buckets. And it's prospecting, which is going outbound prospecting, somebody that doesn't already know, like, or trust you. Obviously, internet leads, because they are you're able to leverage those, and then obviously Sphere, SOI, which is your best, right? Easiest. So where would you say percentages of your leads come from for your team?
So we're about 20 to 25% Sphere past client referrals.
Okay.
25% internet. So
Okay.
we do Zillow is our primary internet lead source.
Okay.
And then the rest comes from outbound prospecting, so expired and circle prospecting.
Perfect. And those are with your in-house, your ISAs, right?
Yep.
Perfect. And you said that they use Vulcan 7 as their dialer?
Yep. So we use Vulcan for pretty much everything but past clients and Sphere. So Follow Up Boss has a dialer built in now.
Right.
So we use that for that.
Very cool. And so, and then when it comes to the internet leads, all of that, do you have an ISA assigned to an agent, or you just have ISA working hours, and they're either, hey, you're taking inbound today, or you're working outbound? How do you structure that?
So they have a rotating schedule so that they don't, they get to learn all the lead sources, and it doesn't get boring. Like, no one wants to come in and call expireds 6 days a week for the rest of their life.
Right.
Because then they get to listen to the inbound person who just sets appointment after appointment after appointment, because they're just getting layups.
Right.
So they rotate it so that way it's fair. Everyone gets an even chance, and then they get to do something different every day.
Okay. And so 2 things on that. One, it also would help, say you lose an ISA, right? Everybody else is cross-trained on all different types of calls, which is good. Yeah. And then the other thing is do they have certain metrics they have to hit within each type of call? So or is it just each week I have to set 10 appointments, and it doesn't matter where they came from?
We just set the appointments.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if just hypothetically, I have to set 10 appointments for my agent this week, and I do all 10 from inbound or past client, it's totally fine.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
so cool. I'm sure eventually we'll get micro on that one too.
Sure.
And we don't have enough of those leads to dive super deep into it yet.
Right.
Some days if they get the 1st or the 15th, there's a whole bunch of expireds, and the rest there isn't any. So I'd have to figure out, every time I come up with a new metric, I find a way to mess it up, and then I have to figure it out the right way.
Perfect, man. You can't figure out the right way unless you mess it up first. I love it.
Yeah, that's the name of the game.
It is. It's absolutely true. Okay. And so now one of the last things I want to touch on is, tell me about your culture, because the team size I'm hearing is 3 agents, 2 admin, there's you, and then you've got a handful of ISAs. You know what I mean? So you're about 10 to 12 people total, right? With everybody, especially after you bring on everybody and get them fully up to speed. Tell me about what is your culture like, and then what have you done to cultivate it, and what would you want it to be eventually?
Yeah, man, culture is probably one of my favorite parts, because it's really what makes your company.
Mhm.
You have your systems, that's your sellable asset, but the culture is what grows it.
Yeah.
So we've been pouring into that from the beginning. So actually, right now, my whole team's in book club. So we do that. We do that every week on Wednesdays. They pick the books. We rotate. Everyone gets a chance to pick. We have our core values. We talk about those every week, and personal growth is one of them. So one
Okay.
of the things I do as the leader is hold these 411 accountability meetings with everybody, agents, staff, and eventually there'll be a leader for those departments in that place. But for now, it's me. So
Right.
we do that every week, and we start with their personal goals.
I
So
love
I keep these notebooks for everybody that has like their net worth. So we focus on not only their work goals and stuff like that, but I want to see their net worth grow every month, even if it's $1.
it.
You
Yep.
know, because some people come in and they might have a bunch of debt, but we'll get them out of that eventually. But we're going to focus on it. And a lot of people don't want to talk about how much money they make or how much money their family has. They won't fit in here because it's all out there.
Right.
Everybody is going to get wealthy one way or the other just by being around us.
I love it. And I know that on our team, because we can relate, because on our team, everybody always talks about money is just ones and zeros in the bank account. It's what you do with it and what it allows you to do is the important thing,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's get out of debt, whether it's enrich the life of your family, kids, others through charity, whatever it is, right? And that is really, we have everybody on our team do the vision boards. And every time they are able to accomplish something on the vision board, they come up in front of the team, right? And they announce it. And so we love that. I absolutely love hearing things like that when it comes to culture. That is absolutely number one. You mentioned that you have the one-on-one meetings right now,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually you're going to probably hand that off, depending whether it's agents, ISAs, admin, right, with your direct reports.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And so how do you plan to hire that person? Because we talk to a lot of teams around the country, and that direct report, right? That first direct report
Yeah.
to start to take things off of your plate is it's a pain point, right? It's something that people really struggle with because it's probably one of your most important hires. And like you mentioned earlier, and I love that you said this, and I'm glad that we were able to come full circle and we could bring it up again. You said that a lot of what I've found is a lot of people make the mistake of hiring the right now instead of hiring the right person. Instead of finding somebody who will be good in this role, they hire the person who says yes, right, and will do it.
Yeah.
Instead of doing it well. And so I would love to hear, because it's an ongoing battle constantly for a lot of people across the country. And I'm sure they would love to hear some advice from you, right? Someone who's been a market leader, that kind of stuff, team leader in a market center. What is your plan to do that, to fill that role?
Full disclosure, I've definitely messed this one up a bunch of times.
Perfect. That means you have great advice on
Yeah,
what not to do, at least.
because you hire that person, you see them as what you want them to be instead of having them they're not already that person, but you expect them to be. So I give them the responsibility, but I don't train them or lead them to be that person. I just go, here you go, you're the leader now, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that so many times now that I can't count. And I've learned even through Keller Williams systems, their career visioning process, I've taken it 5 times now. Is you have to work them into it, and it should take 1 to 3 years of success in the job that they have to earn the right to be a leader in that position.
Correct.
And so now I look for the people with the leadership traits and then develop them over time. So I don't pre-promise the position. I let them know that the opportunity is available, and here's how you earn it. And that's what we're
Yep.
working on now. Is we have those people are starting to step up. They're getting better and better. They're learning the metrics. They want to know how the business runs on the number side. So they stay a little later. They ask the right questions. They're going out and reading the books. We have a library for the team too, that they can check out books. Anything that I read, I put in there, and we buy stuff every month for the library.
I love it, man. A team library. I think we're going to start that because I have mine. My shelf is full of books that I've read. Jeff has his full of books that he's read. And whenever an agent comes in and says, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm having trouble with this," I'm like, "I got a book for that." And I just hand it out, but we don't make it like public for the team. You know what I mean? So I love that idea. That's something that I think we're going to have to probably implement. I see a bunch of the books behind you on the shelf right now.
Yeah, it's cool because we use Asana for that too, and they check the books out so other agents see and other team members see what book they checked out,
I
and
love it.
they also see how long they've had it, so it gives them a little bit of accountability to read it and bring it back because it has the date they checked it out. There's no late fees, not yet.
Not yet. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, but everything is up for conversation. I love that, man. Okay, so now what's the latest? What's the number one book you would say helped you change your mindset? Right, change your mindset to want to start to build the team. I know there's always those, the standbys, right? There's the MREA, those types of books. What's a book maybe that somebody hasn't heard of that you really enjoy?
Ooh, I just finished Atomic Habits.
Say it again.
That's Atomic Habits.
Okay.
That one's unbelievable. It's one of those ones where you read and you're like, oh, I've been doing that for years.
Right.
And over and over, I'm like, did he write this for me? It's all the science behind why you have bad habits, and then the little ways to fix them slowly but surely. I'm a big proponent of massive change. But not everybody can handle that. I'm good at going from extremes. Like if I'm not going to eat something, boom, I just won't eat it, and I'll never eat it again. I can make those decisions, but that discipline and willpower is finite. So if I'm doing something like that, it's going to stop me somewhere else. I'm going to give in on something else. I
love it. I love the way you explained that, right? Is you go to the extremes, if you're going to benefit one place, it's got to come from another, right? The energy or resource. So I love that. Okay. So, well, this was really good. I loved the interview. I learned a lot about you. This is you are right where it's at, right? That 150 mark, about total staff or team of around 10 people, and you're making all the mistakes early and fast, right? And I love that, and that they need somebody to be doing that so that you can start to figure out the right and correct ways to do things. And that's what a leader's supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean it's fun to build and see where it grows. We have we have our roadmap out for the next 5 years so everyone can see it. They know where we want to go. They know what positions and opportunities are available, what divisions and stuff. We do investments to not to the scale that you guys do, but we're getting there.
That's what I love to hear, man. We're getting there, right? We're always trying to push to get to more. Everybody is. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we do for culture too. Is we give everybody on the team has a self-directed IRA that we open for them, and we, as we hit different milestones, we contribute to their self-directed IRAs. It's like a little retirement benefit, and then when we do flips and things like that, anyone on the team can contribute to it.
I love it, man. That's not only is that great for culture, but that obviously helps with recruiting, I bet, as well.
Yeah, and it also helps them keep an eye out for deals.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and especially with the way you're running your recruiting and trying to add people to your team, if you're bringing them from another job where they probably have things like that, at least it helps mitigate, right, some of the takeaways they're going to have by going to as a 1099 independent contractor.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're looking for benefits. They're looking for all this. So we got to have something that counteracts it.
Right. I love it, man. I love the way you think. All right, perfect. So Matt, if there's going to be a lot of people listening to this, obviously, just like yourself, a lot of people are going to be listening to the podcast and they're going to be like, how do I reach out to Matt just to maybe pick his brain a little bit, maybe mastermind with him? How do people reach out to you and get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me. Email is usually the best way. So it's Matt, just my name, at housematchfl.com. But someone can call or text me as well. So I'll give you guys my cell. You can put it in the notes.
Perfect. Will do. That'll be great. And then I want to give a quick update real quick, or a reminder to everybody. Elite Real Estate Systems, we're holding our annual Team Building Summit this June 25th, 26th, and 27th here in Omaha. And it is, I believe right now, tickets are $497 for VIP tickets and then $297 for general admission. And one fun part that I'm really excited about this year is we're hosting it during the College World Series of baseball in Omaha. So nice. The second night, we're taking everybody down to the stadium to watch one of the games, the middle game of the championship series. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So anybody has any questions, always reach out to us. You can go to the teambuildingsummit.com. All the information's right there. Always feel free to reach out to us. Well, Matt, I appreciate you being on, man. This was a great one. I loved it.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.